Super excited for this video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at what makes an offense good in Madden. And really, we're going to be looking at this through the lens of a couple of things that I use to teach and just real life NFL concepts that cross over into Madden. We're going to be in the Philadelphia Eagles playbook, kind of breaking down some of the plays. The main reason I'm using Philadelphia is because I believe it was the best offensive playbook in Madden 25. If you guys want to check out my ebook on this or any of my other schemes, you can get access to all of them by being a member of our school community. If you're not a member of the school community, it's only $10 and it gets you access to all of my offensive and defensive ebooks for both Madden and for college football. So a lot of knowledge is in there that can help you take your game to the next level. So if you want to become a member, the link is in the description below. That being said, I want to go into kind of a little bit of a breakdown just to break down kind of why the offense that you saw was so powerful out of normal wild close in Eagles, and also talk a little bit more about bigger picture, what makes a good offense in Madden year in and year out. So obviously this is, I think, one of the better offenses in the game, and this is normal wild close in Eagles. Now, what typically happens is every offense kind of essentially comes down to a handful of plays, a handful of route concepts that are going to be essentially used in various ways, throughout the formation. So that being said, the main thing that makes this offense good is the fact that it has a couple short post routes. It has a short post route from both sides. It's a formation in which you have the ability to block all of the meta blitzes. It has unique routes. It actually has the top 5 routes in the game, which are short post routes. Little cheat motion routes like this cheat flat. It has a return route in this cheat flat. It also has kind of these like speed outs from the slot receiver out of the play like motion angle wheel. So there's a lot of like power routes in the formation itself where you can build route combinations around it. Every play that I've ever seen called in Madden has a primary or power route within the play itself that typically makes it good. It could be a hot route, but at its core, it is a power route. Another thing that you want in any good offense is the ability to pass protect. If you just take a look at this formation, even though the running back and the tight end are on the same side of the field, which is normally not ideal for pass protection, you do have a couple of things. You have a lot of bubble screens within this offense. You have a lot of ability, but also you have play action. Because play action is such a key for picking up loop blitzes and different types of meta blitzes in this game, it really improves the power of the formation. For example, another formation that you see a lot of people like to run, it's actually in the Eagles playbook itself, is the trips tight end flex. Motion Y post, one of the best plays in the game. It has a power route at every level. It has a stock fade on the left side, which Eagles normal Y close has that as well from the play Y cell. Here we have a stock fade on the left side. We have a cheat motion wheel, which is actually not in the Eagles normal close, but it's in this trips flex. You have a return route, you have a short post, and you have a speed or fast table routes. This is a very powerful play that has a lot of the power routes. However, you really don't see this formation being called as much as you see that normal off close. The main reason why is because the play action play, this PA shot crossers, even though it's a good play, it's not a great play. And that's where you go back to normal off close. Why is this formation really powerful? Partially because PA snag has a short post, and these short posts are really, really good for switch sticks. So pretty much every year that I've been playing, you've been able to hot route a short post with different types of apprentices. Now you really can't do that. And so by having a formation that has these short posts that can get underneath of zones a lot better, it really, really helps the offense. Okay. So with that being said, a couple reasons why normal wild close were good this year. Number one, it has powerful routes that you can build plays around. Number two, it has play action, and you can also block your tight end in this formation where strip side and flex, you really can't do that. There's some things you can do to get there, but it's really not that easy. So again, just having the ability to block your tight end, really makes this offense really, really good. Another thing in Madden that is a little bit different than college football, it's not a ton different, but it is something worth mentioning, is the fact that Your hash marks, the ball is going to be a little bit more in the middle of the field in Madden than it is in college football. Those hash marks in college football are so much wider, and that does play a little bit of a role just in terms of how the game plays and in terms of how bombs work and things like that. So that being said, by having this 2x2 formation here, you can really you can even just run it like this. You don't ever really have to flip the formation. You have the ability to attack the entire field. Whereas, for example, if you were running a formation like bunch, you would pretty much generally always want to have your bunch to the wide side of the field. So you would be flipping your formation based off of the hash mark you're in. With this formation, you do want to flip generally, but you also don't have to, right? Like you could run this either side and be pretty fine. Okay, so those are some of the principles behind in terms of like why even pick the formation and what are some things to look for in a formation. Now, what I want to get into is kind of the idea of power routes and how that really applies to the game of Madden as a whole. And I'm going to do that by kind of looking at the lens of some of the best offensive players in Madden 25, but also some of the best offensive players over the last several years. So if you watch the MCS, if you know have any kind of like ability to take a look at that, so if you consider some of the best offensive players over the last several years, these are players like Clef the God, Wesley, Fancy. Those are some of your top players year in and year out. And those are really the players that I wanted to use for this video to kind of explain what they're seeing in game and actually use some clips from their MCS games really over the last couple of years, but especially this year. So if you take a look at this game, this is Kiv versus Clef. This game was an insane game. A lot can be learned from this game. We have a full film breakdown on the channel. But what I really wanted to break down here is you're going to see that Clef is going to go to basically a couple setups that are essentially the same. For example, right here, he has a spacing switch setup. Pretty much shows us the play art here. It's a stem down post. It's a running back table, a drag, a little tight end hitch, and a little speed out. So very horizontal type of passing combination here from Clef. And the primary purpose of this is really this table route right here. It gets great separation, and you're going to get this drag that's going to kind of mess with hard flats. Then you're going to see that he is going to hit this, super quick, and obviously actually didn't get the pass off. But that being said, there was another play that he ran in this tournament and in this event that was really, really popular. And I think we're about to see it here, some cheap motion. But basically, you're going to see Clef kind of go consistently to the same collection of plays. He's going to have about 5 to 10 passing plays in which he's going to master. Here's one of them. It's a little clear out streak, short corner, drag, and then this cheap motion that's going to help him attack man to man. Again, I talked about this in the beginning, but just this idea that cheap motion routes are super key in offense this year. You have to kind of build a lot of your offense, not necessarily all the way around the cheap motion, but the cheap motion plays just do a really, really good job every single year. And then also the other thing here that you're going to see is he's going to go to a very standard vertical setup. This is just verticals from bunch, something we see every year. And you've been seeing verticals called in Madden, especially from bunch, for as long as bunch has been a primary offense. And so as you see here, you're just using these wheels to attack different parts of the zone. Ends up getting a little pressure from Kiv, and we're probably about to see him start to call the one play I actually wanted to show you. Here he goes back to that cheap motion. Why is he going to that cheap motion? Because as you see here on this left-hand side, Kiv is consistently running, different types of cover twos. As you see here, he actually has that wide open, doesn't end up taking it. May have had that outside third, but in general, he's going to go back to these same couple of plays. You're not going to see Clef call a lot of plays, but the plays that he is going to call, he is going to execute at a really, really high level, right? Here's another variation of the cheat motion play, but at its core, it's pretty much the same, except instead of a streak, now you have a deep in route, in which that time didn't really work out for him through a big to give. Let's see if I can show you one more drive here from this game. But this is a game I think Clef ended up dropping like 42 points. He had one of the best offensive runs that we've seen in a tournament in this Zero Chill event. He just really was very, very good on the offensive side of the ball. And hopefully he'll call the play here that I want to actually show. This might be a spacing switch call. Let's take a look at this. That looked like a spacing switch. You see there, first drive of the game, he goes to spacing switch. Do you fumble there? And then guess what? He calls on 2nd and 6, right? Bunch to the wide side. And here he is running essentially verticals, right? Again, a little variation of the play, but hits that kind of whole shot on that cover 2. And here you're going to see a nice rat catch, get upfield, and he's going to get out of there for a touchdown. So, anyways, a lot of really good stuff from Clef in this game. And then this last play, I just wanted to show this. This was kind of Clef's number one play that you just saw him go to again and again and again. And this is bench pivot. And again, the idea here is very simple. He called this a ton, but it's basically this little pivot route, a drag in which you can hit this drag here. You can hit this pivot route here. And essentially, he's just really straining the entire flat area of the field. And again, this is another big point. This play on bench pivot is actually attacking the entire underneath. You can attack here. You can attack here. You can attack, kind of in here. You're going to get this little throw right here that's going to attack right there. You're going to get this drag that will attack here. You have the running back table that's going to attack all the way horizontally over here. And then that drag will also kind of attack kind of in that seam. And then you have a second level throw to this backside end that's going to attack kind of that intermediate all the way across the field. So again, not only is the principle that they're going to call, a couple of plays, but those plays are going to fit together. They're going to have reasons why they're going to one play or another. And then also those plays are going to be able to attack the entirety of the field, which is a super big principle that we actually see in the air raid offense, which is going to lead me to Wesley, who actually has a lot of really, really good offensive combos. So this was probably one of my favorite MCS games of the Madden 25 season because it featured two of my favorite players to watch and learn from. This is Wesley versus Fancy. This is a divisional matchup, quarterfinal matchup in the MCS playoffs. And if you actually know some of your history within the MCS, these guys were in the semifinal matchup in last year's Madden MCS playoffs as well. So they've kind of matched up a couple of years here in a row. And they're both considered to be some of the best offensive players every single year. This year specifically, these guys were really the kind of people, the primary players running this Eagles playbook. I believe Ghost was actually the first one running it from what I saw back in August. But in general, these guys were really into this formation. And so we can kind of look at both of kind of their schematics here. But essentially, you're getting a ton of, a ton of like systematic couple of plays that they're going to master, that are going to do very specific things. So for example here, if we jump over to Wesley's first possession, one of the other principles that we can take from these two players is the idea of hash marks. The hash marks mean everything. You don't really ever want to be directly in the middle of the field. So you're going to see Wesley take the ball out. But take a look at this combination from Wes, as this is his first play. And Fancy is arguably the best defensive player in this game. This is Sail out of the Eagles playbook. You have this nice little fade. You have this corner. He stems this all the way down. So he kind of attacks in that area. And then he has a backside drag and he has a backside in. One of the things about this play specifically that I wanted to highlight is this is an example of a play that is going to give you the ability to, again, attack the whole field. So you're getting, if you just look at the concept itself, you're getting kind of this fade that's going to clear out and it's going to attack kind of this deep area of the field. You're looking to throw this kind of corner. If this corner and safety go back, you can throw this corner right here. And then, and let's say this corner, just clouds and this guy vert hooks off. If this guy is bailing to this player, then what you're going to be able to do is if this guy goes up to take the corner, then you have this table that's attacking the flat. So on this one play, if you actually look at all the space that they're attacking this spot, this spot, this spot, and then you have this backside drag. And this is what I love about backside drags as combos, because a drag is going to be able to be thrown here. It's going to be able to be thrown here. It's going to be able to be thrown all the way across this underneath area of the field. And then just like in that bench pivot example, we kind of have that middle of the field example. So this play just attacks a lot of space on the field, but it's also a relatively easy read because he's just reading the clear. See how fast he throws this drag? Why is he able to throw this drag so fast? The reason he's able to throw this drag is because if you look here, he is reading Fancy's user. Fancy's user's right here. And normally that user, and this is something that a lot of really good offensive players do, they really just simply focus in on the user. Is the user jumping over here or is the user jumping over here? If the user, and this is really, really important, if the user jumps over here, then I'm going to naturally want to work this two-man game over here. Let's say the user jumped over this direction, then I might want to work, this three-man flood on the left side. So essentially, Wesley reads his user, and if we watch right at the snap of the ball, notice that Fancy immediately switch sticks over here, and this linebacker kind of goes into this area. So Wesley probably sees this, and he goes, okay, this is almost an impossible switch stick to lurk this drag. And so he's just going to simply take what the defense gives him. And that's another big feature of the best offensive players in the world is that they take what the defense gives you. All right, so here you're going to see another one of Wes's favorite plays here. This is actually a play that I love. This is one of my favorite plays in the game. This is that cheat flat post. Again, this is a short post that you can't hot route. He has a return route. Another one of the power routes in the game is these speed outs, but these are something that you can hot route. And so what you're going to see here is, again, Wes is putting a lot of stress within his offense on kind of this right side hook and this right side flat consistently with his concepts. And you're going to see right here, he should block the running back. He is going to block the running back. As you see, you're going to get a loop blitz here. And then basically the read is really going to highlight this player. And again, he's going to look out route. He's going to progress to that return route. And the main thing here is, again, watch the user. You see how the user kind of stays over in this area, which is what Wes is reading. Basically, if Fancy doesn't switch stick here or switch stick here, then it's essentially a wide open play. So as you see, the flat goes there. He's already throwing this. Even though Fancy's user is on the way, he's not able to get there fast enough. And then, oh, by the way, he could have gone backside and worked that concept as well. Again, what you're seeing is they're getting multiple players open within their combos. They're giving themselves, if this, then that, answers to different types of defensive adjustments. So here's the big, big, big takeaway. If you watch one of the best offensive players in the Madden community play offense, they are not going to really call very many plays that have to only work against cover two. Their plays are designed to work against cover two, cover three, cover four match, cover three match, cover two match, man coverage, cover zero, cover two man, cover one robber. Meaning they beat all of the base coverages simply with their design of the play. They're also going to run a collection of plays over and over again that are typically designed to stress over-adjusted defenses that you might employ. So for example, if there's a specific defensive setup that you're going to see somebody run that is going to stop your main play, then your backside, your counter play needs to not be able to be stopped by that, which you see right here. Here he's going to, and so this is actually a really good example. And he actually gets a bad pass, but if you take a look here, one of the very common adjustments is for this defender right here to be in a hard flat or a vert hook. Okay, so what you see is, you see here, he is actually goes inside and he's basically a vert hook defender. As you see, he's kind of playing this drag, kind of carrying this inside. And so this puts a lot of stress on that. And so he's able to, with another play of his, make the game really easy. It's really just a simple two-man read here to the right side. And then if the user, if Fancy went over there to guard that, then he has another backside two-man game with this streak and the flat on the left. So, again, this is the whole idea of giving yourself multiple answers on the play, because in the era that you're seeing be played now, people can just switch stick if you only have one answer. You really have to give yourself one, two, maybe even three answers on a play if you're going to be successful. That being said, I wanted to take a quick peek at Fancy's offense as we have this already up here. And we'll start with this 3rd down and 10. situation. Fancy in this game, he actually audibled over a ton, but still obviously one of the best offensive players in the world. And you're going to see here he goes to a PA snag play. Why does he go to PA snag? We talked a little bit about pass protection in the beginning, but what if you, as you see Wes, he's not really getting up here to run this engage. He's kind of staying backed off. So because of that, Fancy knows that Wes is running this pressure right here. Every good defense in Madden is based out of pressure, and so you have to have pass protection labbed up. He has this play action play, and he also knows that Wes is probably basing out of a cover four. So he's going to streak this player right here. He's going to then get this post kind of coming backside, and then he's got a little tight end drag and a little hitch underneath. So as you see here, Wes is going to do a really good job switch sticking there. The throw really should be right here. And Fancy, this is another little piece here. Again, the route combo attacks the entirety of the field. One of the things that you can do that we've seen in Madden just kill defenses for years now is this idea that this flat defender kind of goes out, the user kind of bails to that post, and then this drag, if you just flick your right joystick up, playmaker it up, you can kind of throw this in a soft spot against that defense. As you see, playmakers it up, and he throws it into that soft spot. Now, again, the biggest thing with Fancy, and you can actually go watch the Madden Bowl final between him and John Beast, where he ran the same play the majority of the game. You're just going to see the main play. Guess who also runs this play? This is what's really interesting, is both these guys ran this play in the last drive. It's basically why Sale with this combination right here. And again, what are we really looking to accomplish? Well, we're stressing these seams. So you have to kind of have cover four. And then from that point, it's really, does the user guard the in or does the user guard the drag? So it's this simple high-low of a defender that you're seeing. So you get here, you get this simple high-low read where really the ball could be go here. Because of the way that West kind of jumped on this guy to lurk here, he can try to squeeze this throw into this area and, doesn't end up completing it. But it's not a bad throw and really not a terrible read. I'd probably check down to that drag just based on everything here. But then guess what you're going to see? A little running back corner action from CJ2K into the end zone for 6. So I hope that the breaking down of some of the pro player offenses kind of gave a little bit of context into the next part of our discussion in this video, which is how do you actually put plays together? How do you put plays together that are going to have answers and multiple problem solving things? And a lot of it really comes down to the idea of attacking the entirety of the field. You have to be able to attack the entire field. And what do I mean by the entire field? I mean the 0 to 10 yard, the 10 to 20 yard, and then above 20 yards. So, for example, one of the ways that we can attack this left sideline is with this play, motion angle wheel, because it has a speed out to the slot receiver. So what we're able to do here is, and we saw Wes run this exact play, we're going to stem this out route up 2 times. We're going to drag this outside receiver. And as you can see, what's going to typically happen on the right-hand side, normally you're just going to get a basic running back streak. We can do anything we want on the right-hand side. It really is irrelevant. The main thing is this out route kind of attacking this intermediate area of the field, which as you see, a hard flat defender really can't defend that. And that's a pretty hard switch stick if you think about it. The best way to switch stick in Madden, the easiest switch sticks in my opinion, are onto the inside quarters within a cover 4 shell, really cutting the idea of cutting crossers. So, this play right here is really effective for attacking kind of that left sideline on the intermediate level. And then on the right side, really you just have, kind of a seams concept where you can attack kind of the middle of the field and you essentially are going to high-low these yellow zones and potentially hit that running back. So again, you're giving yourself multiple answers. If, let's say, for example, and really the best way to play this play would be for, if we're sending 4, the best example of how we would play this play is actually to be on this curl flat defender and switch stick onto him and carry that. So I'm just going to kind of leave the curl flat here and watch what happens to this yellow zone. This yellow zone gets put in a ton of conflict because the yellow zone either has to take the drag or the running back in route. So you see here, yellow zone goes over there, then I can just simply throw the ball here. And that's the idea that I'm trying to get at with this ability of your plays to be able to attack the entire field. You have to be able to attack the entire field because in this game specifically, there's a lot of pretty decent send forward type of blitzes where we can realistically, we can put a ton of coverage on the field right here. But even this coverage is going to have holes. Another common coverage you're going to get would be this cloud flat type of deal, which is why this Y sail play is so powerful. The reason the Y sail play is so powerful is because as a fast table route, it has a fade, and then we know how good seam streaks are in this game. Or we could run a deep tight end corner, which you can't hot route. If you put the tight end on a corner, he's on the hot route master corner, which means that he is going to be a short corner. So what you're able to do here is you're able to kind of high-low this right side and attack a lot of area on the field that to the right side. So now they have to have a hard flat to defend that table route. So they go through and they defend that table route with the hard flat. They're going to defend the drag with this like little hook curl on the backside. And then now what they're not able to do, and this is kind of how you just start scheming these routes together, is they're not going to really be able to defend this seam streak, which you can just aggressive catch in front of the defender. So now you say, okay, well, what if they do that? Well, that's where we get to our next combination, which is something we saw a little bit from Wesley, and that's the idea that if they're trying to kind of get over here to the middle of the field, we can really take advantage of that with our plays. We could go to a play like cheat flat post, and we could run this little streak that's going to clear out a lot of space. If you want to run the running back on a table route, that's just going to push all the zones to the right. We're going to stem this outside guy down. And then if we want to, we can either run that speed out to the outside receiver to high-low, or we could run, a streak as well. As I accidentally flipped a play. Let me flip it back and give you another setup that you could do with this that is actually really common. And that would be something like this. This is the play that Fancy ran all game pretty much against John Beast. And so as you can see here, they're so caught up in trying to get back that they leave that underneath left side little vert hook area open for us to be able to attack. So a lot of Madden really comes down to attacking the weaknesses, the natural weaknesses within coverage, but simultaneously being able to attack the whole field with your plays. Another great example is this setup out of PA Snag, one of my favorite plays in the game. And the reason why I like this play so much is because it attacks the entire field. We're going to, as you see right here, if they play, kind of a cover 4 coverage, it's really hard for them to cover this backside drag. As you see, it kind of gets into a soft spot. This play is also really good against man. And then if they are playing a ton of like shaded down cover 4 to be able to defend the flat area of the field, another thing we could do, go to the play Y sail, put this now on a 15-yard speed out, so a lot deeper. And now you're going to see that the hard flat's not going to get the depth, and you can just throw this in kind of this soft spot of the field. And then, let's say you're playing someone that's going to adjust to that. So they throw a cover 2 look on you, something like what you see right here with that cloud flat to try to take away that Y sail type of deal. And that's where you're going to now hit him with this. And so if he sits on the running back route, then you're going to have potential for this corner route to kind of clear space over the top. So again, it's all about this back and forth, this chess match, this if this and that. The biggest thing you have to do in an offense is you have to be able to answer the question, how does my play, whatever the play that I'm calling, beat the most common defenses that I'm going to see? The shaded down cover 4, one of the most common defenses with switch stick, and primarily if you think about how switch stick works in the game, the routes that they're switch sticking to normally are some type of post route or crossing route. So if I know that they're probably going to switch stick to a post route, running even a setup like this becomes really, really valuable, because if they switch stick to the post, then they're probably not going to guard the tight end corner, which I can throw right in that area. Also, though, let's say you're playing someone that's a little bit more advanced and they understand how to switch to corners. they're going to switch stick onto the corner, but then that's where you have a clear out streak now in the perfect position to open up space for this post to be thrown right in this little area right here, as you can see. So, again, a lot of offense now in Madden is giving yourself answers based off of how you anticipate the switch stick occurring. So if you anticipate that they are going to consistently, if you anticipate that they're going to consistently switch stick to the crossing route, that's where a setup like this that we actually saw in the game fancy that we just watched, something like this becomes really valuable, because if they do happen to run cover two on the left side to stop that out route, well, then we got them with this fade. But if they don't and they switch stick to this tight end route, then we can just check it down to the backside curl. So a lot of offense in Madden, if we look at what the best players do, they consistently, and this is not just Madden 25, this is year over year. Wesley was one of the best offensive players, if not the best offensive player in the game in Madden 24. Fancy was right there with him as one of the better offensive players in the game, and CTG has always, pretty much every single year, is right there as one of the best offensive players every single year. And they all three are very similar in the fact that they don't actually have a ton of plays. They don't have a ton of plays. They don't have a ton of setups. They may have slight variations on a play. For example, let me give you an example of a slight variation. A slight variation of cheap flat post would be to run the play like this. So it's basically attacking a lot of the same areas of the field. It's just we're going to do so with a cheap flat as opposed to the tight end on a flat like this, for example. That being said, when you watch these guys play, they have a finite, very, like say about 10 to 15 plays that they have just ran again and again and again. And they know how to hit the pockets against every single coverage that they're going to see. They're going to definitely be able to beat just straight man to man. And they're also going to be able to kind of play that chess match. Most of Madden is always going to come down to, can you consistently attack the zone and the switch stick, which is primarily what this game is based on. How do I attack the switch stick? The best way to attack the switch stick, which is a little different than what we've seen in years past, the best way to attack the switch stick in Madden consistently is to give yourself multiple options. So if they switch stick or run to the right, you look backside. So for example, if they were to switch stick to this right side and basically call it dead, then what I would be looking for is kind of just this backside high-low where I can hit that in route in a nice soft spot against the defense. I want to thank you for watching this video, and this was a little bit of a deep dive into something I'm super passionate about, just in general, trying to learn, how to be a better player at a high level. What are the best players in the world doing that, we can learn from? And one of the biggest things that they're doing is they're not actually running a ton of plays. They're mastering their execution. And ultimately, that is kind of a principle that the air raid offense has been built around for years. The air raid offense is not very complicated, and its whole premise is really just around the idea of attacking the entire space that you have to work with on a field. You do that with route combinations like this one, where you have different types of high lows, and you also do that, and this is a super important point, you typically do that by using routes that are crossing the field, because they can be thrown in multiple points across the field. For example, a drag, a short post, a in route. Those are routes that cross the entire space of the field, which is what makes them really, really valuable. So thanks for watching the video. I hope that this little breakdown shed some light on how to make a really good offense going into Madden 26. You have to be able to have power routes. You have to be able to attack the entire field. You have to be able to block the best blitzes in the game. And most importantly, you have to give yourself answers, multiple answers within a play that you can attack the user. If the user puts his energy over in this area, then I can work this other concept that I have. We're kind of seeing Madden shift into more of a defender read based game, where we are going to give ourselves a concept over here and a concept over here and be able to attack the defenses in ways that we really haven't seen before. So thanks for watching. If you want to get better at Madden or college football, join our school community. That link is in the description down below.